Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, thank you for joining this video. The Honorable, the lecturer of this lesson, Miss Lily Perpisa SS MPD. Let me introduce myself. I am Putri Lenggogeni from the English Department 2018. Well, today in this occasion, I would like to explain the material of writing academic lesson that I have learned and also the task of chapter 1 and 2 of my research. Okay, let's get started. Okay, the first one is pre-writing. There are two material in pre-writing that I have learned before. The first one is finding and reviewing articles. Scientific articles are writings that contain scientific studies by following the standards of formal writing and scientific writing rules. A collection of published articles is summarized in a journal. Reputable journals will be published online and periodically. One of the criteria for a good journal is that it contains scientific writings in one common knowledge, such as journals that specifically discuss teaching English or specifically for linguistics. So, in these journals, do not have various disciplines or known as the journal Putri. Okay, next, how to review. There are some ways to review articles. The first one is read and understand the article carefully and repeatedly. Second, list the important points according to their own understanding. Third, the analysis of strength and weakness in terms of content, methods, and the language used. And next, every written analysis must be accompanied by arguments or reasons using appropriate theories. And the last is writing recommendation. Okay, next we are going to context social or context area. Context area is the area or range of topics that will be written based on prior knowledge. It is impossible for a writer to choose an area that he is not aware of. Deciding what context to write about is an important step in starting the academic writing process. In this study, the writing context area is English teaching learning. If this context is raised as the topic of writing, the scope will be too broad. So the context area should be more specific but not narrow. Next, the second material is drafting. Drafting is the second step of the process of academic writing. This learning requires students to write a statement and make an initial framework of writing. Through this initial draft, students can develop their ideas into writing. The purpose of this drafting lesson is to help students create a writing framework in order to produce structured academic writing. Draft is the most decisive step to produce structured and quality academic writing. This is because in the process of writing a draft, all the basic ideas will be poured out on a piece of paper or type. What is done is drafting process is writing a thesis statement. Okay, thesis statement. Thesis statement legal must be in academic writing. Without a thesis statement, the writing will have no clear direction. The thesis statement consists of one or two sentences containing the topic, claim, and reason. For example, academic writing is an important course to help students in writing their research proposal in higher education. That is the example of thesis statement. Next, making an outline. Framework can be designed according to taste. art or understanding of each. Some people make it like concept maps, some are like schools, some make it by making sequence, and some even have the form of scribbles on paper. So the layout outline does not have to be rigid, which is important to help to develop ideas. Based on this idea, it will be arranged into a writing framework or outline to be developed. And the last in the drafting is paraphrase. Paraphrasing means formulating someone else's ideas in your own words. To paraphrase a source, you have to rewrite a passage without changing the meaning of the original text. Okay, the last material before we going to discuss about the chapter 1 and 2 from my research, that is background of the problem. Okay, background of the problem is the initial part of an academic or scientific course. The background is a compilation of adequate information based on the analysis of the problem or the arguments proposed, the steps and methods required to arrive at the design and implementation of the results achieved, and the feasible solutions. It is different from the introduction. The introduction contains only initial information about the research question or thesis topic. It is simple and an overview of the research question or thesis topic, but the background to the problems goes deeper and explains why the topic is important to study. Thus, on the background of the problem, information about the context of the entire article is written. This may include relevant and important studies. This is used to prove that the thesis question is relevant and also to develop the thesis. In short, a good background of an academic paper is one that contains questions related to the two thesis topics or problems, and the methods used are important to be answered. And next, how to make a good background. The first is formulate a statement thesis. Second, develop and write down a research question or thesis statement. Third, complete the research using the questions and thesis statement as a writing guide. Fourth, when writing the background to the problem, make relevant sections. And next, identification of further research that needs to be done in the conclusion section. And the last is start by giving an overview of the topic and introduce the main ideas that will be used during writing. Okay, the next slide is the explanation of the researcher chapter 1 and 2. Well, we come to the introduction, background of the problem. English is one of the languages in the world which is spoken by many people in many countries. The main factor that causes people to use English is because English is an international language. Indonesia makes English as a lesson that must be learned in school or institution. Mastering English is necessary, considering English is an international language. Speaking skills are a parameter to measure a person's communication ability. According to the researcher's experience, according to my experience, when I was studying English, speaking is the most difficult part for the students. Many of them are still incapable to use English orally. The teacher should have many kind of methods, techniques, and approach in teaching English. It is because the problem which is appear in almost all of the school in Indonesia, the problem usually such as less confidence or shy, silent preference, use their own language, and etc. The formulation of the problem is Is there any effect of using direct method to students' speaking skill at SMP Negeri 2 Sungai Limau? Next, hypothesis of the research. The researcher hypothesized that direct method gives significant effect to students' speaking skill at SMP Negeri 2 Sungai Limau. And the purpose of the research is to find out whether any significant effect of using direct method to students' speaking skill at SMP Negeri 2 Sungai Limau or not. The significance of the research is, the first one is to provide some information to the teacher about techniques and methods to improve student speaking skill. The second one is to attract students' participation. The study English is enjoyable. Well, the next is a review of related theories. In this review of related theories, there are three parts that I will explain. The first one is nature of speaking, the second one is teaching speaking, and the third one is direct method. Let me explain it one by one. The first is nature of speaking. Speaking is the only way to explain and communicate a speaker's ideas and opinions in teaching and learning process. From Haliwanda 2019, she stated that speaking is the language skill that is used to express ideas and thoughts through communication with others so that to know information. While Hammer 2007 states that in the classroom there are three main factors for getting students to speak. First, speaking exercises offer opportunities. Second, for both teachers and students speak tasks in which students by to use any or all of the language they understand provide feedback. And the last is, the more students have the ability to activate the different language elements they have stored in their minds. So we can conclude that speaking is one of the essential skills necessary to communicate information and to receive information from others, among other skills. And then the next is criteria of speaking. It is from Bailey 2005. There are some criteria of speaking. The first one is accuracy, fluency, grammar, and pronunciation. Okay, next, the teaching speaking. Speaking is a major aspect of second language learning and teaching. Despite its significance, teaching speaking has been undervalued for several years. There are some principles of teaching speaking from Noonan, Terrell, and Brown 2003. The first one is be aware of the differences between second language and foreign language learning context. The second one is give students practice with both fluency and accuracy. The next is provide opportunities for students to talk by using group work or pair work and limiting teacher talk. And then plain speaking tasks that involve negotiation for meaning. And the last one is design classroom activities that involve guidance and practice in both transactional and interactional. And the last one is direct method. From the definition from Henry 2012 and Haliwanda 2019, we can conclude that the direct method will enable learners to engage in speaking of good works for enjoyment and for self-development. The direct method is a method that can be used by teachers in teaching speaking skills. In English class, students, of course, use English as their target language. This may make it easier for students to achieve speaking ability or speaking skills. Okay, next procedure. The procedure of the method. It is from Norland and Terry 2006. From the study of Norland and Terry 2006, we can conclude that there are some procedure. The first one is the teacher shows a set of picture. The second, the teacher describes the picture in the target language, and then the teacher asks question in the target language, and the next students answer the question as best they can using the target language, and then students may also read a passage in the target language, and the last is students answer question best they can using the target language. Well, next, review of related finding. There are 3 previous researches that has been found. The first is from Haliwanda 2019. The title of this research is The Effect of Using Direct Method in Teaching Speaking Skill at the Second Year of SMK Negeri 1, Bener Meriah, Aceh. This journal concluded that before being taught by using direct method is categorized into poor level, and after being taught by using direct method is categorized into good level. It shows that there is significant difference on students' speaking ability before and after being taught by using direct method at the second year of SMK Negeri 1 Bener Meriah. And the second one is Laila 2018. The title of this research is The Effect of Direct Method on Student Speaking Ability at Al-Fatah English Course of MTS Pembangunan Pacitan in academic year 2017-2018. This research shows that direct method was effective in improving student speaking ability at Al-Fatah English course class of MTS Pembangunan Pacitan. And the last one from Sitorus and Sitilonga 2018. The title of this research is The Implementation of Direct Method to Improve Students' Ability Speaking. This research shows that the using of direct method can improve the students' ability in speaking. Well, based on these 3 findings, we can conclude that direct method has significant effect to speaking skill in teaching English. In other words, direct method was effective in improving students' speaking skill. I think that's all of my explanation from the chapter 1 until 2. Thank you for a nice attention from all of you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.